Alright, welcome to the GitHub workshop. So, first off, GitHub is basically, I guess you can think of it kind of like a cloud type thing. So, GitHub is a company and they basically kind of hold and store your files, mostly used for coding and software industry type stuff. But honestly, I think you can mostly upload any type of file, text files, code files, even images and some videos. And there are three ways to use GitHub. There is the GitHub in the browser, and then there's an app. I think it's both. I think it's on all three Linux. Actually, I don't know if it's on Linux, but Windows and Mac. And there's an app called GitHub Desktop for both of those, and then there is GitBash, which is a Bash terminal for Git. So, any questions so far? Kind of makes sense what GitHub is.
Yeah.
Alright, so first off, if you guys don't have an account, you will need an account. So go ahead and go to. Oh, also, check the bulletin board, and there's the presentation, so you can either follow along or refer to it, and then you can also click these links. Otherwise, just go to if you need to make an account, go to github.com and go ahead and make an account. And I'll give you guys a minute to do that. So on the browser, I'm not sure what the first page is when you log in, but if you click in the top left corner on the little cat icon, it should bring you to this page. And I can show you that. So if you go there, it should bring you to like this home kind of page, where it shows you all your repositories on the left side, which is like kind of like your folders of all your files. So if you see my screen, I have one called GitHub Test, another one called Tutoring, Sack Hacks, and stuff like that. And it shows a bunch of other stuff, recent activity, all activity between, I guess, like your friends or whatever it is called. Honestly, I forget. But this is kind of the homepage. And then if you go ahead and then you can click on the top right corner and it brings down a drop down menu for your account. And you can go ahead and if you click your profile, basically this is pretty much like the home page I use, as this kind of shows you everything, where you can either edit your profile, and it shows you stuff like your organizations you're in, or it has like the overview of stuff and your contributions and activity. But most importantly, it has all your repositories here. So these are all my repositories. Are you guys following? Is this similar to what you see?
Yeah, I see this.
Okay, cool. And so the repository is basically kind of the whole shebang here. This is, if we go ahead and I can click on one and go into GitHub Test here. And this is one repository where it has all my files. And there's basically nothing in this. This is just a test repo. There's not actually any real files. But yeah, we will get into that. But so yeah, you can see the drop-down menu there, and you can either go to your profile, repositories, organizations, projects, maybe other repos or ones you have made that you starred, like that are important or whatever, and anything else. And then at the bottom is also your settings for your account. So if you go ahead and click on your account settings, or your settings in the drop-down menu brings you to your account settings, and this is where you can kind of edit everything. So if you want to give yourself a name, public email or not, bio, whatever, URL, Twitter, etc. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. So this is the place, and I think if you go to appearance, you can change the theme. So if you hate looking at a white screen, you can change it to whatever any of these themes, dark, dim, contrast, or anything like that. And I think that's probably the most important settings. Maybe you want to check your security and stuff like that. But yep, otherwise that's the place for settings. All right, so back to the repositories. So if you want to make a repository, you can go ahead and click on the repository tab, and up top right, there should be the new. And basically, to make a new repo, just go ahead and click that green button that says new. And it should bring up the screen where you want to just fill this out, give it a name, preferably something good and related to the project or whatever it might be. I'm not going to create one myself because I already have that GitHub test one that I will go through for the rest, but this is basically how to just create a repository on GitHub. And yeah, just kind of fill all that stuff out. Description, if you want it to be public or anyone can see it, or private, only you can see it. And the couple initialization steps where you probably want to have a README file. And just quickly showing you that the README is just a little thing right here that shows whatever you want. It's just basically, you want other people to read about whatever this project is or whatever, how to use it, etc. And then the .gitignore is basically a template sort of thing that ignores certain files. So let's say if I was using Unity to make a game and I uploaded my Unity stuff, I would want to use the .gitignore for Unity, so I'm not messing with like certain files that can mess things up or anything like that. It'll ignore some certain files basically. And then if you're obviously in a business or you're trying to make a business, whatever it is, something legit, you want to have a license so that people can't just steal your code, or maybe if you want them to, they can. And that's what all those licenses are for. And that's pretty much the basics for making one. So I would suggest you guys to go ahead and make a test one maybe right now so you can follow along and use it throughout the workshop and you can use it through all of them, right? This will stay on your account, so you can use it through the browser, through the desktop app, or through the command line with bash. So this is just kind of, again, going over repositories. So one thing with the repository is when you make it, you'll be in the master branch, which, kind of is given. It's the master. It's like the word, but it's like the one in production, I guess, right? That's your kind of production level branch. Basically meaning the branch is, you can have multiple branches, and this, since it's the master, you want this to be the working one, no bugs, etc., so that it's good for production and stuff like that. And then under it, you should be able, well, maybe yours is blank, but as you can see, there's a couple folders or even a couple files. So I have a desktop and a folder, and that's just a folder. You can click into it to see what's in it. And then there's a couple files, like the README, or this random file I have called desktop example. That does nothing. And also to mention, when you click on the repo, there's all these tabs up top. So the main one is the code. That's kind of the default one, which obviously shows all the code. And then there's things for issues. So let's say if there's a bug, someone can create an issue and say there's a bug and blah, blah, blah. And then it notifies you, and then you can deal with it. We'll get into that. And the same thing with the rest. But just to go through, so there's issues, and then pull requests, and then actions, projects, wiki, security, insights, and the settings. I think mostly you'd probably only use code, issues, pull requests, and maybe settings. I personally haven't used actions, projects, wiki, or security, or insights. So looking at the code, obviously a folder, you can click on a folder and it'll go inside and show what's inside the folder, which in my example, I just have a test.txt text file, and we can even click on this, and this will show the actual text file. So this is obviously just a text file compared to maybe a full file of code, or maybe where, yeah. So this text file just shows text, nothing special. And along with this, there's those couple options on the right side where it says raw, blame, and then there's a little icon to open the text file in the desktop app, and then the 2 pages, that's to copy the raw text, and then the pencil to edit the file, and then trash can to delete the file. You guys see all that following so far?
Yeah.
Parso, Mr. Fulton.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Just making sure. If you're ever lost or anything doesn't make sense, just make sure to stop me. So yeah, when you open files through the browser, there are other options to basically mess with it or open it somewhere else, edit it, etc. And so if you edit the file, you can just edit it right in the browser. So if I go ahead and just click on this, I can edit it, and it's just like a text file. I can type things and spell real good. And then since now I've made changes to the file, well, I guess I'll come back to that. But the last couple options on the main code page are the three up top, where it says go to file, add file, and the green code button. And then this is where through the browser you can create a new file or upload a file from your local computer, from your local file explorer, etc. So now back to the text file. Now that I have made changes, I can either cancel them, or I want to update this. I want to update this on my GitHub. I want these changes to go through for them to be saved. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, when you scroll, you can scroll down, and towards the bottom it is the commit portion, which says commit new file or commit changes. Sorry, I guess I skipped. So if you make a new file, it'll say commit new file, and it'll be a similar process where you give it a name, and then you give it a bit of a description, or like a title. So when other people read this, they'll be like, oh, you created this new file. I mean, you want to say that, and then maybe the description of what the file is. So like I just put this file is just a test, and that's good practice. That's what you want to do, so that if you're in the industry, people won't yell at you, and they'll know what you're doing. And then the last thing being the actual commit, which, again, going back to the branch, we're in the master branch. We're only dealing with the master branch so far. So we want to commit this new file to the master branch, or if we've made changes like to this text file, we want to do the same thing. Write a little thing, added some sick code, give it a little title, and then an extended description, code for linked lists, I don't know. And then you can go ahead and hit commit changes, and this will commit again to the master branch. You can commit to a new branch, and we'll get into that, but as soon as you hit commit, it will make those changes. Alright, following so far so good.
Do you have GitHub open up on another window?
I do, yes.
Okay.
So I'm flipping back and forth between the browser and my PowerPoint presentation.
Alright, I think we can only see your PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. That would make sense. Thank you. Change windows. I should be streaming the screen. There we go. Not the thingy. Okay. Okay, sorry. All right. Were there any questions then, or like, do you want me to go through anything again? You guys good so far?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So yeah, sorry, you should be able to, all right, see my browser. But anyway, I had just opened, um, I was just here in the master branch. I just had this text file I had, and I just hit edit and made some changes. And then down here at the bottom, I committed them. So let's go back. And this is just more on committing a new file. So I'll just leave that. And here are all the files that support that you can either create or upload. So a PNG, GIF, JPEG, a log, a Word file, .doc, PowerPoint, Excel, text files, PDF, zip, and video. And then of course, I think pretty much any type of code file. So that's with creating new files or committing new files. And now to move on to branches. So let's say you want to add a special feature to your project, and obviously you have to work on it. You have to crank out bugs. You have to fix stuff, and etc. So you don't want to just blast this to the master branch, right? The one that's in production. You want to have this basically on kind of a test one, or I guess just kind of a test. So when you're committing something, you can commit it directly to the master, or commit it to either a new branch or or I guess one that's already created. So when creating a new branch, this will just basically create kind of a test branch. And so back to here, when I click up here on master, it brings down a little drop down menu of all my branches. So the master being the production one again, and then this test branch that I made. So if I go ahead and click this test one, it's basically a similar view. It kind of copied what I already had from master, and except it added that new file. And now I can basically do whatever I want with this. This will not necessarily mess anything up. And I can go ahead and add the special feature or add the new thing and not have to worry about bugs or anything breaking, etc. in the production one. So, and then the point of this is when what you have in this branch is all good. So you added your special feature and all the bugs are fixed, etc. Then you can merge this branch to master branch so that you can add this feature to the production level code, and so that it'll update everything and etc. So now moving on to the pull requests. I think this is what pops up when you propose a new branch to whoever created the repo. Even if you created it yourself, I guess you'll still have to go through this. And yeah, and so you just actually, I'm gonna double check that. I thought I had it good, but maybe I need to. Okay, yeah, so. Alright, I just want to make sure, sorry. So yeah, when that pops up, it kind of shows you the hierarchy, so you have the base master, and then this is the test branch, and it's saying it's all good, that it is able to merge, meaning there's no conflicts or anything like that. So that, and then give it a name and give it a good description for what it is, and then you can go ahead and hit create pull request. And when you hit create pull request, it'll pop up this other window or hierarchy of the branch, or of the request for the branch, and showing that I guess that I created this, and then underneath that it has a couple options for merging the request. So since now I've created this separate branch as a test, let's say, I fixed all the bugs, etc., so it is ready to merge. Um, I can do that now. I can go ahead and merge this new file that I've created, and it will basically merge it and make all these changes to the master branch. So I guess I can just do it again. So whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then if we hit create pull request, boom, it picks up this thing, checks for if it how good it can merge, if it can merge or not, if there's conflicts, etc. And and then so that's good, and that's basically the same thing as going to the pull requests tab. So up top you can go from code back to code or to pull requests, and it'll bring up all of the pull requests, and you can just click on that one that was I just recently did, and it pulls us back up. So okay, so then there's these 4 tabs up top. The conversation was that main one that kind of had that whole hierarchy. And then if you go ahead and click on the commits, this will show the changes that I tried to make. So since I created a new file, this shows that I tried to commit a new file to the branch, and it shows what changes I actually made. The blue being no changes or like nothing, and then green being a like positive change. I added something, and then it'll come up red if I deleted something, like I deleted a word or a line or etc. And that's in the files changed tab up on there. And so with everything good and dandy now, and going back to the main conversation here, I mean, I can just show commits, file changes, etc. So I guess maybe it's not blue, it's just grayed out. And then I just recently added this, whatever I typed. And so back to here, now we can go ahead and merge. And if I click on the drop down menu here, it shows the different things. So I can create a merge, commit, I can squash and merge, or rebase and merge. And what we're going to be dealing with is just creating a merge. So when I do that and create the merge, it pops up a little thing. And of course, again, I want to give it a nice description so that people know what I'm doing, and it explains why or what I'm doing or why. And then we can go ahead and give it a little test. So click merge pull request and just update it, and then we can hit confirm merge. And the pull request should have successfully merged. And it also closed. So now that this new branch, so I created this branch called patch 1, and I'm committing it to the other test branch I had. It merged these changes to that branch, to the test branch. And since all the changes are made, I don't need this one, so I can just click delete, and it should delete that branch. And then going back to the pull request, there's nothing there. Because I already already merged it. And if we go back, I can show the test, and which one did I make the changes to? So here, so a new test, it should have my changes. It has what I changed a couple minutes ago. All right, so far so good. Anything to clear up? All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. So now we're all merged, and that is pretty much the basics for GitHub in the browser. Were there any last questions or any clarifications for the browser?
No.
All right. So that is pretty much the browser, and that is a very similar flow to basically using Desktop and to using GitBash. So now to move on to GitHub Desktop. What GitHub Desktop has over the browser and over GitBash is, Well, first off, it's a program. It's an application you have to download, but it has a very nice UI, and in my opinion, a really easy flow, and probably the best flow. Uh, Again, in my opinion. Um, and basically just links to a local folder in your computer, usually under documents, and that folder kind of what is like the place. So whatever is changed or added or deleted in there is basically linked directly to the GitHub repositories. So if you're comfortable with using file explorers, this may be for you. This is what I kind of recommend because I'm not a command line person, but Jeff may say otherwise. All right, where you guys, you nerds, can use GitBash. All right, so going back, go to this website here, so desktop.github.com, and go ahead and download GitHub Desktop. And you can download it for Mac OS or the Windows 64-bit or even Windows MSI. So yeah, I guess Jeff, you might not be able to follow. And yeah, just I guess let me know if you guys when you guys are done downloading it. It should be a fairly simple install. Cool. So when you open it up, do you see this kind of blank thing? It says no repositories found, and it has like those three little sections.
It's telling me to create a. Oh wait, yeah, I got it. Never mind.
Okay. I might have asked you to sign in or something.
Yeah, I see that now.
Okay, so this is basically just the main page for it, and yeah, I guess we'll just we'll dive right into it. So again, with the GitHub Desktop, it's the same thing as browser. You can create a local repository, or you can publish a local project into a repository, or you can already clone a repository that you already have from GitHub. And so make sure, if you do that, make sure to sign in with your account. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to sign in, and I will kind of just explain the basics. So if you click File up top, I think, I don't know if you signed in, but there's the options, and these are just some of the basic options. So again, if you hate light mode, bright light, there is the dark mode option under Appearance. And here are just some of the other options for the GitHub Desktop. So it shows your account, so I guess that's where it'll show you if you're signed in or not. And I'm signed in. And then there's also some integrations. So if you have, an editor or a shell, those are your two options to choose. I use Notepad++. I guess that's just the one I have hooked up. And then there's the Git portion where it's just hooked up to my Git with my name and my email, and then also the default branch for whenever I create a new repository through GitHub Desktop, and then the appearance again for light mode, dark mode, etc. And then it shows prompts. I guess those are just some dialogues it might show before you remove, discard, or push something. And then just some of the advanced settings. Just can look through all those, and yeah, some pretty simple settings. And so now to get into the repositories here. So just to make sure, did you guys already create a repository on the browser and mess with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Falafel. Did you create one, or?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, cool. So you can do the same thing here, where you can create a new repository. However, since this is the desktop and this works kind of in two parts, GitHub Browser is directly connected to your account. GitHub Desktop is directly connected to your computer. So you can do the same things. You can add a new one, create a new repository. You can add a local repository, or you can clone a repository. So the new repository is like creating a brand new one on your local machine, or let's say you have a folder already of some code, you can add a local repository. So basically bring that folder into GitHub as a local repository, or again, you've already created one on the browser, you can clone that repository from the browser to your local machine. So if you want to try adding a new one, you can. It's a similar thing. You give it a name, description, but then this time you got to give it a path. I think the default path is usually in documents under a folder called GitHub, capital G and H, and that's kind of the whole file path that you will work with to add things, change things, etc. for GitHub. And then there's a couple options: README, git ignore, license, etc. Or again, if you want to add a local one, it should pop up with this option to choose the local path, and then that it'll add that repository to the folder. So to clone a repository, which we'll kind of go through, is you'll want to go back into the browser, and under the so if we go back here and under the, we'll stick with the master branch, there's the green code button. If you click that, it'll pop up some things with the HTTPS where you can copy that, or even you can hit open with GitHub Desktop. But just to show you, go ahead and hit the little 2-page thing. That'll just copy it. And back to and so back to here, you can, when you hit clone, you can just take that copied thing and yeah, okay, sorry. So it'll pop up the thing where you clone it. It'll ask you from github.com. And if you're signed in, it should show all the ones you have linked on github.com, and you can just choose it from there and clone it, or you can use the URL that you copied from the browser, and then you can just paste that in. So I think, I don't. So if I go to repository, or no, file, I can clone one, and it brings me up those options. So I can either scroll through here and look for GitHub test. I can either do from here, click this, and you can see it'll create the local path in the document /GitHub. It'll create a new folder called GitHub test. That's basically the repo for that whole repo. Or you can go to URL and then go ahead and paste that, and again it'll add that same path. And so you can go ahead and click clone, and it should take probably just a few seconds since there's not much code in there, and it should clone it. And so now you should be under that current repository, and things should be good. So far, so good. You guys able to clone?
Yeah, I was, but I have to go, so thank you.
Okay, no worries. It'll be recorded so you can watch the rest.
All right, thanks.
We lost one. All right, Falafel.
Yeah.
Were you able to clone?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, cool. So you kind of see how it works.
Yeah.
All right. So that is kind of how you deal with the repositories. So now that you've cloned one and you have basically kind of that link between GitHub and now your local machine, what you want to do is if you click Show and Explore here, this kind of middle option, if you click Show and Explorer, that'll legitimately bring up your file explorer. I'm on Windows, and this is the whole thing. So this is basically my whole repo, very similar to what's in the browser, where I have a desktop folder, a folder, and these 3 files. All right, that's exactly what I have in my local machine now. And this is why I like to use it, because now I can just use it as I usually do, just add files, copy files to here, delete things, add folders, move things around to folders, etc., whatever it is that you do with a file explorer. And yeah, and if you happen to make changes on this kind of this main screen here, any changes will show up kind of on that left side where it says changes, or even the history. You can click on history, and it'll show you the history of everything, of all your changes. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty clean. Shows everything kind of in a nice UI. And again, you can show it, the whole folder or repo in your local machine. So to update something, so let's say you're working at a company and then someone else makes some changes, and then they update it to GitHub, but on your local machine, right, it's your local files that are saved. In order to get all those new changes, you can just click the button up top here that says fetch origin, and that will fetch all those changes and take it from GitHub and change it into your local files. So we haven't necessarily made any changes, but I don't know, click on it for fun, whatever. But yeah, it's just that one button, and it should fetch everything. And basically, it keeps you up to date with your local files, and it basically keeps your local files up to date with the files that you want from GitHub. And again, this is just the history tab. So here's an example of a time when we added some changes and maybe deleted some changes. And this was just one commit. So the background color I changed, the width I changed, and that padding there I changed, and that shows exactly what I changed, added, and deleted. So super helpful, and the whole point and reason to do this, because it keeps all your versions and all your changes saved, so that if something breaks, you can either go back to one, or you'll know, like, oh, okay, this is the one that kind of broke it. You can see what changes were made. Be like, oh, that change broke it. Okay, etc. Same thing with the browser. You can go through the different branches. So since you've cloned it, you're probably in the master branch. But if you created another branch while I was presenting, it should show up here as well. So here in my GitHub, I can click from branch, and I can go into that Charlie test branch that I made. And if I click that, that'll kind of open it up. But I need to fetch the origin, and then since it's already published to GitHub, I need to create a pull request. And so if I go ahead and do that, that will bring up this thing to create a pull request. Okay, so there's nothing to fetch or anything since I cloned all those changes, so nothing to change there. And this is an example of those changes. So if I make a change on GitHub Browser, if I make a change through GitHub Desktop, like let's say I open it up in the Explorer, and I open this up, and this is the text file, right? And I can add something to it, and as soon as I hit save, it pops up with these changes. That is what I just made. But I'm going to head and discard those changes. And discarding those changes will basically revert that kind of file back. So it says it's modified, so if I reload it, it's back to original without those changes. Otherwise, if you want to, make those changes, on that left side, you'll have, again, the little title name for what you did. So, updated changes, added this thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the more specific description, again, so people know what it is you're changing, exactly what files, what you did, maybe you fixed bugs, etc. And then you go ahead and, go ahead and then you can commit to the main branch there. So, again, though this is all local, and as soon as you hit commit, it will then commit to GitHub, And so this is just a little picture of previously that I only had these two files in this repo. And as soon as I make these changes, now it should show. So the change I made here is I just added a new folder, and then when you commit, you want to push to origin, which will push the changes, push the commits to GitHub, and now you can see those changes. And when you reset your browser or refresh your browser, it should have all those updated files in the GitHub repo. All right, so far so good. Were you able to maybe make a change or try it? Falafel.
I didn't get a chance to make the change.
Okay, but could you
For the past,
okay,
or just be able to listen the past few minutes because I'm kind of multitasking a bit at the moment.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think there's only a few more slides. But were you able to follow, kind of see how you can make changes and do all that through desktop? Yes. No.
Sorry, I just cut off for the past like 50 seconds.
Okay.
The audio is
okay. I was just asking if you were able to follow, at least with all the changes and stuff and
Oh
how
yeah,
it
yeah,
works.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm able to follow what you do. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. Okay. I guess that was the last slide. So yeah, I think that's pretty much does it for GitHub Desktop. You're able to create a new repo, which will basically create a new local folder. And again, you can take an already made folder from your file explorer, add that to your GitHub repo, or again, what we did, clone from GitHub Browser, and take that and add that locally. And again, it's a little two-step thing where you have all your local files and then you have all your GitHub files. And so any changes from GitHub, you want to pull those or fetch the origin on your local machine. And then if you're on your local machine and any changes you make to those files or folder in that branch or repo, then you want to push those to the whatever branch or the master branch to update it on GitHub. So any questions or anything that needs clarification real quick?
No, none at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the desktop version. And then there's probably some more complicated things, but that's probably a good base. And so yeah, again, this is what I suggest using because all you have to do is hit Show in Explorer, and then it's just like using a file explorer. So you can add files, whatever, open them, change them, save, and it just kind of keeps it all here, and then you just push them to GitHub. Okay, so that is pretty much it. So now moving on to GitBash. So GitBash is a bit more complicated. I know this is probably what you really want, Jeff, so might as well just spend the time and do it with you because I don't have GitBash on this computer. And so we'll go through it together. So you probably already have it downloaded, but I'm going to download it. So yep, just click that link. For those who are watching recording, just click the link in the PowerPoint and it will bring you there. I clicked on Windows. I'm on Windows, but then there's also Mac and also Linux. And then so I'm gonna go ahead and open the thing. It asks to make changes. I click yes, and here is this. Let me bring up. So when installing, kind of go through all this stuff. Click next, terms and conditions, and now choose the directory. I'm just going to leave it in my C drive under program files under Git. Okay, so there's all these extra components. I don't want an icon on my desktop. There's also the Windows Explorer integration stuff. I'm just going to kind of leave this all default. Oh, there's even a new GitBash profile to Windows Terminal. I'll have to check that out. But go ahead and click Next. And just, it's creating a start menu folder in my Git. So, boom. Alright, and then choosing default editor. No, I'm not going to use Vim. So I'm going to choose Notepad++, just because it's an easy editor. But they have Vim, Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, those are both code. Okay, or Sublime, Atom, Notepad. Don't use WordPad. Oh my god. Or even Notepad, but Notepad++, cool. All right, and then we'll have to adjust the name for the initial branch. After git init, sure. So we can either name it git init, which is what it'll thing, and name it, and then the branch will be master, or you can override them. But I'm just gonna leave it default. And then here we're just gonna use the recommended one, git from command line, and also third party, and that should be it. And then new. There's also a new external one. And then for the SSH, we're just going to use the bundled open SSH that comes with Git. And then again, we'll just use the open SSL library, continue kind of clicking through the defaults, and check out as is commit. Ooh. Jeff, would you know about this? Line ending conversions.
What does it say?
It says line ending conversions.
Line ending conversions?
Mhm.
Oh, they're talking about return characters. So like in Windows, there's like a caret
certain thing.
M that means enter. So you want to convert it to Linux where it takes that out. Is there
Right.
any of those
Alright.
options?
Since I'm on Windows, I'm gonna leave it on the Windows. I think if you do you remember when you downloaded it? If it did like, if it had like a different thing, if it defaulted to Linux.
I did not. So I did not download GitBash. I'm using Linux, so I have a Linux terminal, and I just use
You're just
Bash.
using Bash.
It works. So like, GitBash is basically a virtualized Bash environment.
Mm-hmm.
So the same commands you can put in GitBash, you can just put in Bash.
Okay.
So it just
For sure.
it's like it works the same.
Okay. So doesn't matter for you. All right, but I'm on Windows, so I guess I'm gonna do that. Minty. Here's the default console window. Do you know? Have you used MintTD yourself?
MintTD? No, I don't know what that is.
MintTTY. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and use what?
Is there a default? Like what does it say?
That's
default?
what it says. The default terminal of MSys2 is MinTTY. Otherwise, like it says use Windows default command console, which I guess I'm gonna use.
Okay.
Because Windows command is cool, right? Okay. And I'm just gonna leave all these default things, default behavior of git pull, credential helper. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna click no credential helper, and just leave it default. File system caching, no experimental options, and install. That was a lot of options to go through. All right. and we'll go ahead and finish. Oh god, it popped up that. Alright, cool. I now have GitBash. Cool. Alright, well, let's get back into it. So, with your command thing open, you probably already configured your thing. But I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I can type in git config to set up my username and my email. And I'm just going to do this. Boom. So git config -- global user.email now. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in my email. Boom. All configured. So again, these are the basic terminal commands. So they're just simple ones. CD, you can change the directories. For me, CD dash seems to work to go back up one directory. So if you're in a folder, you can go back up one folder, and then you can use mkdir to make a directory, dir to show the directory, and then echo to make a file, rm to remove a file from your directory you're in, and then clears the terminal.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then that'll
this-
what it does is it'll echo the contents into that file and it'll create it.
No, okay, so that does work, the // I meant the cd ... doesn't work for me. It keeps saying command not found.
Oh, okay.
So
So you changed to the right
I
drive
did
letter though?
change to the right drive. So I will
Alright, cool.
I will add this too. So now with this, I should be able to find my GitHub folder. So do you remember where your GitHub folder is?
No.
Okay.
Not sure. Do I have one?
Hopefully.
Oh wait, yeah, here it is.
Cool. All right. So I just CD'd into documents GitHub. That is my local position in my E drive, because it's not in my main drive. And now this is my, basically just to show the file. This is this. So we're basically in here, and so now I can go into any of these folders here, and we'll go into GitHub test. So I go ahead, GitHub test, and now I'm in GitHub test, but I am in a different branch. I'm in my test branch. All right, so real quick, you can also go right-click up here, go to properties, and change font size. Well, there's all these options here. Change font size. Let's go 18. Okay, a little bigger. So, typing cd brings you home. All right, cool. You can type cd to change directory. Actually, let me bring up the basic things. Let me make you smaller. Okay. So now we're back home. We can change drives. And so I'm going to go into documents /GitHub, documents /GitHub. And that, no, I have to go into my other drive, that's right. So I switch to my E drive where it has my GitHub. And then now I can change documents, GitHub. I spelled it wrong. And now I'm there. Now I should also be able to go into a repo now. So if I go to GitHub tests, boom, I'm in GitHub test. Cool. So this one's already local on my machine, but if I want to go ahead and create one, I can make a directory in my folder, and then you just name it. So let's go git bash test, and then you can cd into there. Let's see where directories. Oh, dir, that's how you show your directories to. Duh. So typing in dir shows all my stuff. So now we have git bash test in there, so we can go to git bash test, and it should be good. And type git branch, not a git repository, because we didn't initialize it. Okay. But anyway, so you can make a directory, make folders, etc. So I'm going to go back into a one that I actually know is a repo, which is GitHub test, and it shows my master branch. And so now if I git branch, it shows my 2 branches that I am in the master branch, and I have the other test one. So real quick, to change branches, you type git checkout, and I think I have to type this whole thing. 1, 2, 3, testing, test. And now I am in the different branch. Cool. So that is how to change branches. You can type git branch to show them all, and then type git checkout and the branch name. Let's go back to the master one, and now we're back into master. And let's go and make a directory in here now. So now we can make a folder. So we're gonna go master branch folder. I spelled it wrong. Don't spell it wrong. And so now I've done that. And so now if I show my directories in here, I've just created that master branch folder, but it didn't work. No, it is right there. I'm blind. Okay. And then even from here, we can cd into that. And it'll show everything in here. There's nothing in here, so I can just go back. So going back to GitHub test. And so let's, well, actually, let's go back into, so we're back into here. Now we can create a file. To create a file, we can type echo, and then we want to have content. So we'll make, this is the master branch file, and then we'll use the right caret and then type the file name. So master branch test.txt, and now we should have that in here. So if we show it, it has our text file. Pretty cool. Now if we want to go ahead and remove it, we type rm, and then we can go ahead and master branch test.txt. And then if we type it again, there's nothing in this folder. Cool. And you can type clear to clear the terminal. We'll do that. We're still back into our master branch folder. So if we go back one again, we'll be in GitHub. Now let's see if we can remove the folder. Master branch folder does not work. Cannot remove it. It is a directory. Can you remove directory? Let's try it. Boom. And then you type mrdir and see if that's gone, and that is gone. All right, we'll update the list. Cool, we're finding so much out. Okay. Remove file, or remove dir. Removes directory. Okay, let's make sure this is all good. Removes file, blah, 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 make directory, make a file, cool. All right, looking good. Okay. So, practice with that. Go up and down directories, paths, etc. Make files, delete files. And this is the basic thing. So looking here, this is my drive, and then I'm in documents, GitHub test. That hopefully is clear, but if not, hopefully it is now. And those are the paths. And basically each one of these paths, I guess, is a directory, and I can go into that. So again, typing cd ... brings me out, and then typing cd can bring, and then typing the name of the directory will bring me back to it. And these are the basic structures of a command, starting with git, and then the second one being command. So something like commit or like branch was one we messed with already. And then there's some other stuff like these dashes, which are switches, and then text. So let's also try to create, oh no, this is, okay. So if you've already created a repo on the browser, you don't have to do this part, but if you don't, go ahead on to GitHub Browser and create a new repo from your homepage. And you can name it something easy as test so you know what you're dealing with. And as soon as you do that, you should hop back into GitBash. And with GitBash, there are 3 states of the files. So all of these happened on your local copy. So you have your local copy, and you have your local copy, which is kind of your working directory. And then you want to stage the files by using git add .A. Make sure it's a capital A, caps matters. And this will basically stage the files to the staging area. And this is kind of the holding area for your files. So if you're working with multiple files, you can stage one file, go back, mess with another file, add your second file into the stage, and then when you're all ready to commit all your files, commit everything in one commit command. Then once it's all staged, then you do git commit, and then dash m will means message. So that whatever you write in the quotes, remember double quotes, not single quotes, will be the message that goes along with the commit, and then that commits to your repo. And as you're doing this, use git status to see which state everything is in. So if we go ahead and try this out, so let's see. So I have new test.text. So if we go ahead and actually, we'll go ahead and make a new one. We'll make a new folder, and this contains the content for this file. And then so all that in that string is the content, and we'll go ahead and write caret into a new file, and we'll call this stage test.text. So now if we check directory, we see that stage test.text. So now if we go ahead and git add, oops, I did a space. It will stage all the changes, and it's just giving me a little warning here. And so now if I go to directory, it'll still show it, and let's type in git status, and that shows my changes. So I'm in the master branch, and it has my changes of this new file called stage test.text. If I want to restore changes, or if I want to unstage it, I use git restore, and that will go back one step. So it'll remove it from the staging area for commit. So let's now go ahead and try to commit. So we'll go ahead and commit these changes, do -m for a message, and then for the message we're going to say add new file to this branch. Check it out. And as soon as we do that, we commit those changes. And if we do git status, there's nothing because we've committed everything, and everything is committed to the repo, but it is not updated everything on GitHub. You still have to push all the commit changes that have been committed now. So just looking into more of git commit, we've already created a file using echo and kind of already messed with this. Otherwise, within your local files, you can right click a new text document and try it through there if you don't want to use the echo command. And so we kind of went through this. We already added the file to the staging area, and then we committed it from the staging area to our repo, our local repo now. And just again, -m means specifies the commit message. So going back to browser, I'm going to go back to my GitHub test. And again, there's the 2 branches. I'm going to go ahead and grab the master branch, copy. So make sure you're not in the repository you delete. Make sure you go back. We'll go ahead and clear it. And then now we should be able to git clone. And so now we have it cloned. So if we check our directories, we have GitHub test again. And so now we can go into GitHub test, back to where we were, and now we're back where we are with the directories, everything on there. And yeah, and notice how our changes are not there. Let's see if we can get push. So all the things should probably be in the stages that we committed. I don't know what my password is. Okay, so it looks like password does not work anymore. We need to go to our authentication. So in order to do that, we'll have to go down to settings, and then down here we'll hit developer settings, and then personal access tokens. And then we have to generate a new token. Okay, what's this token for? And then this is for GitHub Bash testing. And expiration, we'll do no expiration. And then we'll just select all these, honestly, I don't know. And so with our new token generated with the name, all these things checked off, we'll generate a new token. And then I can copy this. Please don't steal my token, Jeff. So there should be no, I'm just kidding. So there should be the little copy thing to copy the token. And now if we go ahead and hit push again, it will pop up. It'll ask me for my username. I'll put that. And then it'll do this. I'm just going to paste my token. And now it should work. So let's see, the directory. I guess it pushed nothing. Cool. All right, let's try this one more time. Actually adding a folder and committing it. So, all right, blank file lol testing.txt. So now we've created that. And we have testing.txt in there. And then we'll go ahead and add that. Make sure you use space. And then we'll go ahead and commit the changes we made, -m for a message, adding new test file. Then we'll go ahead and commit, and now git status, nothing. And let's go ahead and first check our directory. So we still have testing, and let's go ahead and hit git push. And again, it will ask me for my username and that token. So I'm gonna get pasted again, and now it should have pushed my stuff. So if now I bring back up to here, and I go back up to GitHub test. Now I have testing.txt that I added 35 seconds ago. So let's finish out the thing. So hopefully that showed you how to clone. And then again, if we want to see what we did, we can use git log. And it shows a bunch of changes. I messed with this a lot, so let's see if we can find this one. Here we go. This is the one we just did. So adding new test file. And at 303. That's good. And it shows all the others. Crap. Alright. Oh, press Q to exit the log. Thank you, Jin. Okay. Spacebar will take you to the next page. Press Q to go to the log. So just to show you, if we type that again, you can hit space. It's the end. Hit Q. You can hit clear to clear everything. Ooh. Make this guy small again. And so, since we made changes on our local machine through GitBash, we push them. But let's say we make some changes on the browser. So maybe we'll show that real quick. We'll go in testing.txt. We'll edit this. And then we'll set blank file. Haha, no, this is full of sick code. Poggers. And then update this file. Change the contents. And then we'll commit directly to master, commit these changes. And on GitHub, now these changes are made. But now we have to git pull to pull everything. As you see, testing.txt, we have two changes, one plus, one minus. So one thing was deleted and one thing was inserted. Can you cat the file? There we go. So you can use the cat command and that will show you what's in the file. And so now, as you can see, it shows the changes we have made. And again, as always, use git status when you're pushing or pulling things, making sure everything's clean. You don't accidentally pull something you don't want or push something you don't want. Okay. So why GitHub is important? These are all the reasons why. Very important for collaborations in companies, when you're assigned projects with a group, maybe with a senior dev or anything like that. It's a great thing to know how to add for software updates, bug fixes, issues, using GitHub or GitBash. When you usually apply for job or internships, you can link your GitHub and show off the projects you have did or maybe are working on, and they can actually take a look at those projects because all the code is on GitHub. And if your computer is ever lost or crashes, you can recover all your projects through GitHub as it's in the magical cloud. All right, merging. Last thing, I guess. I don't know why this is at the end. But to merge. So if we have a second branch like that test branch, we should be able to merge that test branch to the master branch. So similar to what we did within the browser. Okay, so we're going to try the whole shebang. So we're going to clone one we've already made, go into a new branch, so make a new branch, add some files in that new branch, and then try to merge branches and try to see if this all works. So first off, I'm going to go into my directory, or my new drive, E drive, and then I'm going to head into my folder. So documents/GitHub. This is my directory with all of my repos. So now we're going to clone. So going back to here, grab this, copy this guy, right click paste, and we are cloning. And if we check the branch, we have to go into the new repository. So now we're in the repositories as master. If you git branch, it says we're in the master branch. So let's go ahead and try to make a new branch, git branch, and let's just name it bash test. Alright, now if we do git branch, we have two branches. So now let's go ahead and do git switch and bash test, and hopefully we should switch to the other branch. So we have git branch, we are now in bash test. And remember, this is all locally, so nothing will happen on GitHub until we commit and push everything. So now with that, let's go ahead and make a directory within bash test and call this text files. So now when we check GitHub test, we have this one called text files. And so let's go ahead into text files, and we're going one step deeper, and let's go ahead and now create a file. So we can do echo and put code here. This is the contents of file. So this is the contents of the file in that string, and now we use the right arrow key and do bash test.text and create that new text file. So if we go ahead and hit directory now we can see that, and we can even look into it, and we see that that is the content in the text file. So let's go ahead and go back one to GitHub test. And so now we have text files, that folder, and remember we are in the other branch. So now let's go ahead and try to merge. So I'm still in my GitHub test, and again we have all those things, especially text files, that text files folder or directory, which has that text file in it. So now we should be able to add these changes. So you do git add.a, and if we do git status, we have that new folder and the new file there. So text file is the folder, bash test.txt is the file. And so now let's go ahead and git commit, make the message -m, and write in the message, added some sweet ass code. Hog. And we should go ahead and commit, and there we go, commit, and if we get status again, we should be good. So now we should, if we do git branch, again we're still in there. So now if we go to git switch back to master, we should do git merge and named our upper branch bash test, and we should be able to merge the two branches. So we merged them, and it added the one folder, and we can check that we now have that folder in there, and it, has a little check there. Now we should be able to git push to master, or maybe just git push. All right, just do git push in the master. Now it's asking for my username, and it's asking me for my passwords, which again is that token. So let me grab that. And so with the token copied, we can go ahead and paste that, and now it should work. And oh shit. Okay. So now we should see everything. So if you git log, let's make this a big boy. And here we go, November 3rd at 42:14 is what I did. We added that. And it's a file that says added, the commit says added some sweet ass code. That's where we added that new file. And so we can go ahead and hit space to see more, or hit Q. Or I'll hit Q to quit out of the git log. And so now with that, we should go back to GitHub, and we only have 2 branches or anything like that. But now if we go back to master, we should see this new folder here where we've successfully merged and added that stuff. So hope this helped out. We'll look to do another live workshop in case anyone has questions or more people want to do it. So thanks so much for watching. Hope this helped.